Welcome to Studio One, the virtual film company's studio on VR chat. Today, we're going to be celebrating the end of the year and talking about some other important things like the imminent arrival of the ARK and just basically take a step back and enjoy the fact that the year is coming to an end and it's a time that we should all reflect on and really just take a step back ourselves and look at what we've accomplished, where we're going in the new year, and get ready to do some amazing things in 2026. At least those of us that are still here that haven't decided to buy tickets for the ARK and take us up on that opportunity. So here we are, digitally wired and mystery.
Yes, I believe the alien is dealing with some issues as well. I think he's got some things going on with him with wearing clothes and not wearing clothes. So hopefully he sorts that out. Maybe he's talking with the ARK people. Who knows?
Yes, good point. You know how quickly one forgets people when they go off to jail, unfortunately. That does remind me that we should be checking in with the alien and possibly sending him care packages because the last I heard he was arrested for indecent exposure, but time will tell.
Yes, his mother was not happy. Came down. Had to have some choice words with him. So he might be in timeout somewhere. She may have just taken him off somewhere else. Time will tell.
Indeed, time will tell when it comes to everything. And that's important to realize that, we're heading to the new year and we celebrate New Year's Eve, all anticipation of what's going to happen. But how many people actually follow through and do what they say they're going to do when they make those New Year's resolutions? How many people are able to, on New Year's Eve, look back and say, yes, I accomplished everything I set out to do? It appears that Mystery may be having some technical difficulties today. So let's continue to talk about the new year. One of the things that helps manifest success is writing your goals down. And the best thing to use to write those goals down is an intention pen, because every time you pick up the pen, just by the very nature of that pen being called an intention pen, it makes you remember to set intentions. So, highly recommended.
I would agree. And we have a new gallery that is coming online that is pretty much ready to go experience, and a lot of amazing art in there that also links with the pen. I think a lot of people are looking to see their path and find where they're going and what they're manifesting. And I believe art also inspires or reminds you of, oh, this is the path I'm on. This is what I'm doing. And yes, set your intentions. There's that true power in believing in something and then bringing it into existence.
Definitely, definitely. One has to believe in things. If you don't believe in things, then nothing is going to happen. But belief alone isn't enough. One also has to have the self discipline to set things into effect. I'm now beginning to feel very guilty about the alien. We totally abandoned him, I'm afraid, or at least I think so. I just totally forgot about him.
I do not think that. I think that he, wherever he's at right now, hopefully he's experiencing some level of peace and reflection on, what is happening. I think what's more interesting is we are a couple of weeks away from the ARK arriving, and I mean, are you prepared? I mean, the whole world could be changing in a couple weeks. Like, this is a major shift that, some people are talking about it, and other people, it's not on their radar at all.
Well, those that don't have it on its radar are in for a shock at the end of the year. I already have a luxury suite booked, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Do
Definitely.
you have any updates though? I thought that you received some word on a few different things.
Well, I really don't want to say too much because people are going to accuse me of manufacturing it and creating all of this out of AI. So I'm not
Mm.
even going to show anyone the
Oh,
video of the actual spaceship, how it has been shown to be made out of composite metals, and how it seems to be spawning smaller spacecraft. So, it's up to you if you believe this or not. Some people don't, and I just don't want to be the butt of any more AI jokes. So I have my ticket and I am
mm,
going to enjoy my luxury suite, and that's it, you know?
fair enough. Well, there's been a lot of people that are relying on your information as well as the people who are having a laugh at it. There's also people that, you know, the signal that you got, they believed in that signal and they think that that is real. Just because some people think it was an AI generated thing, that's the controversy, right?
Yes, that is the controversy, but there's also a time when one has to step back and say, well, I tried to save humanity. I tried to let humanity know that this event was going to happen, and I secured all kinds of tickets, storage class tickets, first class tickets, second class tickets, third class tickets, and even the waiting list tickets. I got all of those and then was accused of manipulating it through AI and that it was all a hoax. So, there's only so much beating one's head against a wall that one can do. So, good luck to all of those you that felt that this wasn't real. I'll be waving goodbye to you as I leave with the alien's mother.
Fair. Well, there you go.
But just in case, I have entered into agreement to clone myself. And so there will be a clone of me forever operating here in the studio, no matter what happens. But the real me will be on the Ark, escaping the Earth.
Interesting. That is another, how many people, the ability to clone and, where we're at with technology, with what is going on is, if any time it was going to happen, now is the time because tech is here.
Yes, I bought a mail order cloning kit. It was $999, and I've set up a laboratory in my basement. Unfortunately, I've also got some kittens that have been knocking the test tubes over, so who knows what's going to happen.
Time will tell.
Time always tells. There is no getting away from that one. Everybody is at the mercy of time. Although, if one looks at particle physics, it is theoretically possible to halt time. So perhaps in the future we'll be able to have a time stopper. In fact, I think I'm going to invent one.
No shock there. I do think here in the metaverse, though, it is interesting how time exists because people could be here from other dimensions, other time zones, other places of the world, and their time really doesn't matter here. Time, this is one of the few spaces you go into that time is kind of, I want to say, irrelevant
Time is
in this
as
space.
relevant as we make it to ourselves. I mean, obviously, time marches on. It's something that continues. There's a continuum of time, but I think we all look at time differently and perceive time differently.
There is some truth to that, for sure.
Just some truth to that, not the
I
complete
mean,
and utter truth.
well, I feel like sometimes time moves slower and sometimes it moves faster, and it's an interesting conundrum the way it works. If you're in doing a job that you're not that interested in and you keep looking at the clock, it can tend to be like, oh my gosh, how long am I going to be here? And then when you're doing something you're actually enjoying, you're like, oh my gosh, this much time has passed. So it's interesting how it works. Even sometimes if you go to rest for like 11 minutes, sometimes that 11 minutes could feel like you've been resting for, way longer than 11 minutes. So, the way we experience it, is there other ways that you can operate in it? And, I don't want to say master time, but uh, wield it. I think that there is. I think that it's open to interpretation for sure.
One has to learn to ignore it because most of the time, no intent to have a play on words there, but most of the time, when we become aware of time, we're doing something that we really don't like to do. So, for example, when I do Hapkido and I look at the clock and I see, God, I've only been doing this for 30 minutes, another 30 minutes to go, I put that thought out of my mind completely because what can happen is one can get trapped in thoughts like that. And then from that moment on, everything becomes a hassle and a pain. And it's best to just say, well, time exists, it's going on regardless of whether I like it or not, regardless of whether I'm totally enjoying myself or not.
There we go.
Indeed. There we go.
You had a few other topics for us.
Yes, there's always things going on in the world. One of the things that hunters in California, I think it is, have come across is blue pigs. And
Mm.
these pigs are blue because a result of, our ability to try and control or whatever it comes down to, trying to control one species over another. And so we put out poisons, and these poisons have caused the pigs to become blue from eating animals that the poisons have killed. But of course, if a human eats these blue pigs, they're going to end up being poisoned as well. So bless you. Bless you.
Thank
So,
you.
and this goes to our next topic of conversation, which is the virus. Mystery here,
Mm.
unfortunately, is a veteran of COVID, and he appears to have come down with it again. He's recovering, so we're all happy about that, but he is not doing well. And these, as you can see, are symptoms of a disease. He's sneezing. That's what it sounds like when a person sneezes, just in case some of you were
Yes.
curious as to what was going on here. Me, or I, on the other hand, am a vaccine addict. I believe in vaccines of all kinds. I think I've been vaccinated against everything under the sun and will continue to do so. But, it also brings up the question of, for example, another news item is that Pfizer was recently accused of hiding data pertaining to the efficiency of a vaccine when it came
Mm.
to people in the 65 years and older group. And, to me, there are people out there that are highly skeptical of vaccines, and I don't agree with them, but when a company like Pfizer starts to do underhanded stuff, and you know, I can understand why people are skeptical. However, if I was carrying on here like mystery, I would decide that it's time to start believing in vaccines.
Well, I mean, I think there's also the thought of a natural immunity to where there's a lot of different strains out there, and this, form of the cold, which people don't really talk about the cold anymore because it has been I just see it as kind of reclassified because the cold is constantly mutating. That's why people would get it every year. And there is the flu vaccine. Uh, I don't know. You get sick, you get better. I think it's part of the even the process of uh, getting the toxins out of your body that you've been holding on to, and it's a way for the system to cleanse and reset. So, as much of an inconvenience it is to have another, whatever it's called, a cold, a flu, you know, could be controversially called a form of COVID. I don't know. It's we're in an interesting state when it comes to how everybody is choosing to take care of themselves.
Indeed, it's definitely, the time of the year that one needs to be, well, depending on where you live, of course. Some places this is summer and some places this is winter. So, depending
Yeah.
on where you live, if you live in a wintry country, take care because there are more bugs around than usual. And given that mystery here should actually not be on the show because he might be infecting me and people watching this,
Mm.
we probably should. Oh, there he goes. We should call it a day and let mystery retire and relax and beat the virus.
Yeah, I've already been we've been battling for some days, so I did feel well enough to do the show. Yeah, hopefully you're not infected here via the metaverse.
Yes, that would be a terrible thing. So,
Yes.
listeners
Good
out
to be
there,
here.
let
Thank
us
you.
know if you have any advice for mystery, any secret cures, anything that will get him on his feet for the next show. We'll see you shortly. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.